This is Michael Tucker, and you're watching the new Legends on Deck podcast with host Brian Koss and David Condi.
Hi, welcome to Luther Williams Field, home of the Macon Bacon. But who is Luther Williams? Well, a little bit of history is in order. In 1855, Luther Williams was born in South Wales, and at the age of 18, he moved down to Macon, Georgia from across the pond to work with the Western Union Telegraph Company, and it was a successful tenureship as he eventually climbed his way up the ladder to become the mayor of Macon in 1929, and the Macon City Council granted him the honor of being named here for this great field that originally cost $60,000. All brick is original here at Luther Williams Field, along with the ironwork as we continue to honor the Luther Williams legacy. Better way to start our team history than with the great Pete Rose, who played here in the 60s for the Macon Peaches, which was the original team here in Luther Williams Field that played from 1929 all the way to 1980. So a great tenure for the Peaches, but some great tenures for other MLB players that have started here in Macon, playing for the Macon Braves and of course the Macon Peaches. Of course, Pete Rose, we all know, the hit king in the MLB. Unfortunately, some of those a little tainted, but we're not worried about here in Luther Williams Field. Other people. Andrew Jones started here with the Macon Braves. He went on to become a 10-time Gold Glove Award winner, a 5-time All-Star, and is a member of the 400 Club. And can't forget about Chipper Jones, started here down in 1991. He also started with the Macon Braves, a member of the 400 Home Run Club, one of the best switch hitters of all time, one of the best third basemen of all time, and of course an MLB Hall of Famer. And there's one more big celebrity, big athlete that we have not talked about yet here at Luther Williams Field that we are proud has walked the hollow grounds of Luther Williams. Of course, no Walk of Fame tour would be complete without mentioning the great Jackie Robinson, who of course broke the color barrier for Major League Baseball, but on April 7th in 1949, he broke it here in Macon, Georgia, as he was playing for the AAA affiliate of the Brooklyn Dodgers. We are so grateful to have Jackie Robinson here, and actually in 2013, when the movie 42 was being filmed, it was filmed right here at Luther Williams Field, so definitely a good historical connection there. But now to the left field concession stand, where we're going to be making some fan favorites from the Load the Bacon menu. Let's head on in. Let's start off with our bacon-wrapped bacon. 2 pieces of thick-cut bacon that is then wrapped in individual strips of bacon that is guaranteed to satisfy a bacon craving. Is that enough bacon for you? The loaded fries is about exactly what it sounds like, covered in all the kitchen fixings, including chili, cheese, jalapenos, and of course, bacon. These are probably my favorite thing on the menu. Crispy fries with all that chili and cheese certainly adds up to a great day at the ballpark. Same thing with a loaded footlong. Of course, a 12-inch log frank that is definitely something, a staple of the ballpark that you just gotta try. Here we have your standard walking taco, bag of Fritos, some chili, some cheese, jalapenos, oh, and bacon. Now we have the loaded mac and cheese. Cheesy goodness loaded down with jalapenos and bacon, and of course, more bacon. This is definitely a unique item here at the ballpark that surely will bring your taste buds to a different location. And now we have the piece de resistance, the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. A massive 4-tier sandwich that includes a hamburger patty, a grilled chicken fillet, a hot dog, and a scoop of mac and cheese topped off with jalapenos and bacon, all served on 2 slices of Texas toast. Man, this is something.
Welcome to episode 40 of the Legends on Deck podcast. I'm Brian Koss, along with my co-host David Condi. As you may know, Collegiate summer ball season has begun. Just this past weekend and the beginning of June is typically the beginning of summer season. And we've really enjoyed covering Collegiate summer ball here at Legends on Deck for the last couple of years. It's a growing area for us. Today's guest is Brandon Raphael, the president of the Macon Bacon of the Coastal Plain League. And I understand he's also involved with the Florence Flamingos of the Coastal Plain League. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys, for having me. I'm excited to be on today.
No, we appreciate that. So I got to say that I've always been a major league guy. Then I became a minor league guy. And then when Brian came on in 2017, he had this dream. He probably didn't tell me it back then, but I think after COVID, he kind of brought it to my attention. Said, "Hey, let's do college baseball and collegiate something." I'm like, I really don't know what you're talking about. I know what college baseball is, but I didn't follow the whole collegiate summer baseball stuff. And I have to say, in the last year and a half that we've been doing this, it's pretty much exciting. Like, I'm really involved in it. Really want to get out and watch more games because you start to realize the kids that are coming up from like high school and they go to play in college. You in my mindset, I always thought about travel ball, but now you think about, hey, they're playing college ball, now go for a collegiate summer league. That's just a whole nother experience.
Right.
Another thing that's out there to help them kind of get to their on their path, whatever goals they have. So
yeah, that's right.
It's exciting. And I'm kind of digging that Macon Bacon. So we're gonna get into that name. We'll get to that name in a minute. But before we get to that point, the first question we ask all our guests, kind of like, we want to know about you. So give us a little history of, what your background is in the game. Like, where'd you grow up? How did baseball come into play in your life? Did you play baseball? Up to what point in your life did you play? And then how did it turn into the business side of the game?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri, born and raised. A huge Cardinal fan, obviously. It's in our blood. Ended up, I started playing baseball as, T-ball or whatever. I was 5 or 6 years old. And then I played all the way through high school. Played in college as well at Maryville University, which is in St. Louis. Ended up being that my high school and my college I went to were like 2 miles apart from each other. Super weird. But had a great experience there. Loved it. Wouldn't change it for the world. And after I graduated, back then, I'm in year 24 now in the sports and entertainment industry. And back then they didn't really teach us like how they teach these students now about, resume building and how to interview and all that jazz. And so started interviewing for jobs and got a great opportunity to interview on my own dime, nonetheless, with the Las Vegas 51s.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Way back in the day, they were looking for a ticket sales rep, and I flew my own way down there. I paid for my own hotel, lost $200 gambling the night before in the casino, and had a great opportunity to start my career there. That's kind of where everything got started.
So a quick question on the Las Vegas 51s. When were you there?
So I was there the first year they switched over. So they were the Las Vegas Stars for however long, and then the year 2000 they switched over. So I cut my teeth with Mandalay Sports Entertainment, John Spolstra, and Steve DeLay, and started everything at that point for the next 24 years now. Yeah.
How long did you stay with them?
So I was with Las Vegas for about 3.5 years, and Mandalay at that time owned about 6 teams. And so the thought process was you can grow within the organization. So after about 3 years, Steve DeLay came to me. You'll hear that name here in a little bit. He came to me and said, "We'd really like for you to move to our newest team, which is the Frisco Rough Riders." They had the Dayton Dragons at that time. They had a couple other teams. And so it was a great opportunity to learn what a new team looks like, because the Las Vegas franchise had been around for about 25, 30 years at that time, in an old stadium. And this was a brand new stadium in North Dallas. And then the hope was to continue to grow within the organization from there. So I was with the Rough Riders right when they started off as well, for a couple of years, and then had an opportunity to move into Major League Soccer in LA for the defunct Chivas USA. That was quite possibly the most interesting career move that I made. I didn't know much about soccer. And then after that, started having a family and really wanted to spend more time with my family. And so someone turned me on to college athletics. So take a look at it. Fundraising is very similar to ticket sales. And that was my first 8 years in the industry was in ticket sales, and loved it. And had an opportunity to move into fundraising. So I was Cal Poly Pomona for about 3.5 years in athletic fundraising. Then I moved on to University of Texas, San Antonio, be a part of a larger organization. And just when they started football, Larry Coker was the coach. It was amazing. And so I thought I was going to spend way longer there than I actually did, but I was there for about 6 years.
Wow.
And that's how things came about here. So I've been here for about 5 years. So about 6 or 7 years ago, Steve DeLay, my first boss out of college, been friends for a long time. He called me up and said, "I'm going to purchase this team, college summer ball, move it to Macon, Georgia. You want to come run the team for me?" Like, nope, I don't. I had no idea where Macon, Georgia was. Had a great life in college athletics, but things changed. And about halfway through the first year, we cut a deal to have that opportunity, and the thought process of kind of building a little mini Mandalay in the Southeast. And we've started that process already. So pretty amazing ride.
It's amazing that I didn't realize that one organization owns all these teams. I mean, some of these teams were affiliates, right? So you think they're either owned by the organization, the major league team, but I didn't realize that one company owns a variety of teams. That's interesting.
Yeah, and it's happening now. I mean, Diamond Baseball Holdings is buying up a lot of teams. But at the height, Mandalay Sports Entertainment, which was owned by Mandalay Baseball Properties, Mandalay Entertainment, the movie company, when the tiger comes out of the, I mean, that's it. I think at the height they had 8 teams. So a pretty cool opportunity. So it's really neat to be a part of that.
The only reason why I asked you a lot of questions about this 51s, because that's where the Mets were at, and I had a bunch of buddies that actually played for the Mets, but I met them more in 2013 and beyond is when I got involved with the Mets and stuff. So yeah.
It was cool to be a part of a brand launch like the 51s. It's John Spolstra's crazy idea to do something different.
Now the stadium they had, was it outside or inside? It's outside.
That was outside. Yeah. It was Cashman Field. It was super old. Not a great neighborhood, but
really?
Yeah, we always talked about like literally there's bullet holes in the back of the scoreboard. So it's kind of funny, but no, great organization, great ballpark. And then obviously they switched to the Aviators, and it looks like now they're going to get the A's, which is even crazier.
And not to go off script, but that stadium that they're building for the A's, I saw the rendering of it. Oh my God, it's going to be like, it's going to even brighten up the strip even more. It's going to be crazy.
It's crazy. So I lived there for about 5 years. And so to, know where that's going to be, where the Tropicana is, like, that's just crazy. And when we were there back in those times, we always thought that there's no way that Las Vegas would be able to sport a franchise of any major sport. And now look at them. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of betting going on that game. Anyway.
That's for sure. Sports
they're
buckle weekball.
They're going to have to let Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame soon.
That's for sure.
So, so we've been covering, as I mentioned, collegiate summer ball at large. I put out a piece a couple weeks ago. Thanks for contributing to it.
Yeah.
Just about what it looks like across the country. These kids come from different colleges and they go to different locations where they may or may not have played their collegiate season. And they go and they try to improve over the summer. Right. So, tell us a little bit about what the Coastal Plain League is like, where they're getting, what that's all about with your team, the Bacon, and also the Flamingos as well.
Yeah, so I mean, college summer ball is a really cool concept, and there's so many different variations throughout North America. I mean, you've got the Coastal Plain League, which is and the Northwoods League, heavily concentrated on the fan experience and attendance. I mean, the Macon Bacon, we've historically finished in the top 10 in attendance in college summer ball throughout the country. But there's so many other leagues that don't. It's, there's another league in Georgia most people have even heard about that they're mostly playing at high school stadiums. So there's such a wide range, and playing at a historic ballpark like Luther Williams Field, which seats 3,300 people, is really special. But we talk a lot about that student athlete experience. I mean, these guys are coming in from, in our case, and really the Coastal Plain League, all over the country. It may be more regionalized in some of the smaller leagues, but we have student athletes from California, Missouri, Texas, New York, really everywhere in between. And it's really neat to see how that worked, because I didn't really know that much about college summer ball until I got involved, and having an opportunity to see they're playing their 60 games at their college or university, and then they travel somewhere to play another 50 or 60 games. Would bat nonetheless, and it's obviously a lot different. And staying with host families is such a cool concept. That they have that opportunity to basically, these host families have an adopted son for the summer. Mm-hmm. And so our league, the Coastal Plain League, we run usually from the end of May to beginning of August, about 24, 25 home games, same thing on the road. And that's the thing for college summer ball. These guys are playing every day. They are either on the road or at home. Basically, we average about 3 to 4 games a week. So they are always, and they're not used to that, right? They're either on a bus or playing at home. They're not playing a weekend series somewhere like they are at their college. So it's really special to kind of see how that is. And we're a little bit different. I mean, the Coastal Plain League, we have a lot of teams. The Savannah Bananas used to obviously be in our league. We're all about entertainment and focused on really, to be honest with you, we kind of feel that we are a minor league team. It just happens to be that our ball players are college ball players instead of Major League Baseball affiliated. So,
you said about the entertainment side is that, you watch baseball now, and I can take my son to a game and he gets up and walks away. It's me personally, I can sit there and watch a baseball game. I love the strategic, the chess, the back and forth. But if you don't entertain the younger generation in any way, you pretty much lose them, so you can't, it just can't sit long enough to just watch baseball. It has to be other things.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right, David. And that's the thought process is, back 24 years ago when I got started, it was a little bit different. Now it's all about entertainment. So we have to look at it in a sense that we're an entertainment company, and there just happens to be a baseball game going on at the same time. And that's really throughout the rest of our, I mean, our league is in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, 15 teams and a wide range. And the Coastal Plain League is actually one of the top leagues in the country. You got the Cape Cod League, which always gets the top players. And then between us and the Northwoods League, really get the next crop. But it has to be that way because these families have so many different options when it comes to entertainment. And we want it to be that, from the moment you get out of the car to the moment you get back in, you're laughing, you're having a good time, crying, hopefully because you're crying from laughing. And I think that's what it's all about, right? It's about that sense of community. And that's something that's really important to us is being that team that somewhere you can go for 2 or 3 hours, and not worry about everything else you got going on in your life. And you can come out, have a drink, have a hot dog, and watch some good baseball.
And I guess a lot of your I'm sorry, get it, Brian, you go, because I cut you off before.
Oh yeah. You're good. I thinking about like the size. You said you have about a 3,300 capacity at your ballpark. If you're filling that place up, I mean, that's bigger than most minor league games that are going on. I mean, I could go to a game here in the Florida State League, which is affiliated minor league ball, and sit there with 500 people.
Yeah.
You know, so it's larger than most minor league audiences.
Yeah, it is. And we looked at it last year. I think we our average attendance is about 2,500. We saw it every Friday and Saturday. We do pretty well during the week. And I like tonight, like Tuesday night might be a little bit lower, but
Sure.
you know, the thought process is, you know, it goes back to the entertainment. You do have the baseball purists that come to the games and they have a great time. They don't get crazy about all the music and all the antics that goes on, but they still see good baseball. But I believe last year we finished from an average attendance perspective, not a total attendance because it's maybe not as many games, but better than about 30% of minor league baseball, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So are you in an area where what's the closest minor league baseball team to you where you play at most times?
So we're in middle Georgia. So you have to the east of us, you have the Augusta Green Jackets. To the north of us towards Atlanta, we're about an hour and a half from Atlanta proper. You got Gwinnett Stripers, I almost call them Gwinnett Braves. Yeah. Gwinnett Stripers, and you have the Rome Braves. But actually, the Rome Braves used to be the Macon Braves. This ballpark that we're in is 94 years old. It is one of the most historic ballparks in the country. We believe we're the second oldest minor league ballpark in the country because for the 94 years it was a minor league team. But the last team that was here was the Macon Braves, and they left in 2001 to head up to Rome, Georgia. So that'd be the closest.
So you feel like the community itself and the whole just loves baseball. They just feel like, you know.
Yeah, they're baseball starved. I mean, between 2001 and 2018 in our first year, there was a couple teams that came and went in the dark of the night. And when we announced that we were coming, they thought, okay, here's just another team that's coming in and going to leave us. But then we talked about our community. We talked about our all-you-can-eat packages. And we're going to have a staff here. It's going to work. And it's turned out to be something great. And it's grown beyond just middle Georgia. I mean, we had about 67% of the counties in Georgia represented at games last year, 41 states. So it's pretty cool to see that growth and people coming from Atlanta to come down to our games because of it's less expensive, more entertainment, easier to get to. I mean, they're spending less time driving an hour down to come to our games versus driving an hour and a half up to Cobb County where the Braves are at. So it's pretty cool to see, and we're very blessed and we're appreciative of the fanship. But our community here in Middle Georgia is really, really special to us.
That's cool. So
it's the size and scale. Okay. I'm sorry, I want to make a quick comment. It's the size and scale of the games too. You know, going to a game with 2,500 people or 3,000 people, and then with the entertainment you're providing, but there's something about being able to see, and this is what David's talked about with minor league baseball, being able to see players up front, personal. It's very intimate. You're sitting close to the players. You can interact with the players. You know, these guys, I'm sure kids are lining up to get autographs, even if they don't know who the players actually are. But they feel like they're a part of fans can feel like they're really a part of the game.
No, you're exactly right. I mean, we have a post-game autograph session with the entire team, every single game, no matter what. We encourage the players to go up in the stands. And, you know, it is pretty cool to see, like, when you hear, we talk a lot about where they're from. So, now batting so-and-so from Georgia Southern or whatever it is. Right. It's pretty cool to see. And I think that's the part of that we miss from a major league perspective is inspiring the next group to play ball. And these kids don't care whether they're major leaguers, minor leaguers, or college ball players. They want an autograph. They want to hang out. They want to watch the game. And I think that's where, you know, we don't have that superstar Mike Trout or Ohtani, but if you go to a game, you're not going to get close to them. You're not going to, I mean, maybe you get lucky to get an autograph, but you're fighting with everybody to get an autograph. So it's special for us because we love our ballpark, we love our community, we love entertaining our fans. And when you consider the value, and that's another part of it, is the value. I mean, our tickets are $15, and for our package buyers and group buyers, it starts at $17, and they get all you can eat food with it. So it's, you know, you're not gonna go to the movies or anything else, and you get to watch a baseball game at the same time. So it's special for us.
You guys want to buy a team in Fort Myers, and I know it's a little bit of a travel, but I don't mind the $17 all you can eat at the game.
Yeah, we do. I mean, that was the thought process of getting additional teams. And we got the team in Florence that me and Steve, my first boss out of college, we're now business partners. It's crazy. And really cool story. But yes, we want to buy a team in Fort Myers. Absolutely, let's make it happen.
Okay, cool. So let me know. I'll definitely work the tickets if you want me to work the tickets.
There you go. Now you're talking, David. I love it.
All right, so as you know, we kind of, Brian came around this whole collegiate summer with following the Savannah Bananas. He just that's where he found them, and they used to play for the Coastal Plain League.
Right.
So I am under the understanding that you guys played with each other for many years.
Yeah.
Kind of give us a little bit of understanding. What was that rivalry like before? Like, I don't know if that banana ball started right away, or I didn't follow him as much as he did, but you guys were in it with them. So give us an idea what the rivalry was like, and did you guys ever partake in that banana ball type of game?
So before this, all this TikTok and the crazy stuff that they've been doing, they were just the Savannah Bananas and always into entertainment and similar to us. And so we were natural rivals for a couple reasons. First, Steve consulted with them to get their start and help them out. Then they're the closest team to our, to where we're at. We play them a lot. So then it was the natural food fight, right, between Bacon and Bananas. They had shirts in their team store that said "Macon sucks." We had shirts in ours as Bacon baseball beat the Bananas. It was a pretty cool rivalry. And so on the field, absolutely hated each other. Red Sox, Yankees kind of thought process. Off the field, we all know each other pretty well, and we talk through ideas. But and so then a couple of years ago, they started this banana ball type of thing. And now they never did that. They couldn't do that during the summer because these college guys are not going to play by those types of rules. They're there to get experience. And so they kind of created two separate teams that they were doing and traveling. And then this last year, obviously, they left our league and went to go do their banana ball full time on traveling or playing some games at home. So we are not currently in the process of playing them in a banana ball game. But who knows, somewhere down the road it might happen. So we had to find a new rival, right? So it's like so there you go.
Right. So how has the league been with the Post Bananas since they left? What has another team came about? I mean, how's the league kind of like, I'm not saying they were the stars of your league, but it was a team that had all that stuff going on. So what have you done after that with the league?
After the who? Who was that?
After they've left.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. That was a good one.
I'll be here all week. It's all good. I mean, I think that we'll get some questions every once in a while. You're not playing the Bananas anymore. It's not that the banana ball. It's like we just used to play them a lot. I mean, I think we were around 19 games. 19 of our 50 something games were against them. So that's changed. But no, I mean, everybody moves on, and who knows someday down the road if they're back in our league or not. I think some of the people in Savannah miss the college ball, right? And seeing those guys and fighting for a championship, which is something they and us, we did every year. So it's been great. I mean, for the first 5 years of our existence, we had an opportunity to play them. And now we've all moved on, and we're continuing, hopefully, our world dominance.
One question about the stadium. So I know with the Savannah play, that's a historic stadium, and yours are you the two stadiums in the area the most historic in that area?
Oh, 100%. I mean, Savannah's about 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours from us, but Luther Williams Field is a little bit older than Grayson Stadium, and I'd say probably a little bit more historic. So 94 years old is this year.
Wow.
So Chipper Jones and Andrew Jones started their minor league career here with the Macon Braves. Pete Rose, as you've talked Pete Rose, his first and only year in minor league baseball was here in 1962 with the Macon Peaches. Tony Perez played here as well. Ted Williams, Hank Aaron, Joe DiMaggio all played games, and our most historic and really favorite story is Jackie Robinson. So Jackie Robinson, as we know, broke the color barrier in 1947 for Major League Baseball. On April 7th, 1949, he did it here for the state of Georgia. So incredibly historic. And it just, there's so many players have come before us, and we really like to highlight that. Even though we've only been here for 6 years, we have it all over our ballpark, our Walk of Fame and history. 42, the movie about Jackie Robinson, some of that was filmed here. Trouble with the Curve was filmed here. And so it's really something special to call this home. And it's pretty neat to be able to walk into the ballpark, as much of a baseball guy as I am, to have our offices here and be able to walk out there and step on that field.
So what upgrades have you, I mean, but what upgrades have you kind of kept the original feel of the field, but then what upgrades have you done to kind of keep it, up to date, I could say?
Well, it's interesting. That's the reason why the Macon Braves left in 2001. Because they asked the city at that point in time to renovate or build a new one, and they're like, no, we can't do that. And then Rome, Georgia says, we'll build you a new ballpark, right? And they've been there for 21, 22 years. So the mayor at that time, Mayor Rickard, he really wanted to bring baseball back and had a conversation with Steve about doing that. And they said they would commit something into it. It just needed a little bit TLC. Mm-hmm. And so for our ballpark, if you see the pictures, the original seating bowl is intact. That's about 2,800 of the 3,200, 3,300 seats. And then everything outside of the dugouts. And these are old school dugouts, like real dugouts, right? But everything outside of the dugouts is all new. So we have 3 hospitality areas. We have a party deck, we have suites, and another hospitality area. And put in some very large fans. I don't know if I could say the word on this podcast. But we put those in, which is great because the old facade, like just a lot of airflow doesn't come through there on those, still Georgia nights when it's 94 degrees outside. So that has been really special. We still have a manual scoreboard, which is super cool. And so, and then just a lot of other things that you'll see, just like modernizing it a little bit, but we wanted to keep that historic nature intact. In fact, it's a historic landmark, so there's not much really you can do with it. But we keep on doing little upgrades each year and freshen it up. We got a new paint job this year, which is great. And so it's really something special to walk into Luther Williams Field in those gates.
Cool. So you see, Brian, that's part of the bucket list. You know how we have that bucket
Absolutely.
list. So I think that's going to be added to my bucket list. I want to hit all the minor league stadiums I can. So there you go. Not a mini stadium, but I'm saying, but baseball stadium, collegiate, minor league. I want to hit all of them. So yours is probably gonna be the top because you're closer.
Yes, and guaranteed when you guys come out, guaranteed VIP experience and first pitch.
Oh,
so
love it.
Oh my God, I am in there.
I'm in the car. We're going to be there tonight. Yep.
That's good. That works. 7:00. Let's go.
Okay. I'm in Orlando, so it's about. Well, I can make it.
You can make it. It's about 5.5.
Yep.
You got 50. Well, you got 50 for 24 home games. That's a lot. So that's
we got plenty. We play about every other day on average. So we got to look at the schedule. We'd love to have you guys.
Cool. Awesome.
I love it. So let's talk a little bit about just the team and the assembly of the rosters. And we brushed over that a little bit. You mentioned there's a lot. The Coastal Plain League has a lot of top prospects in it.
Yeah.
And is it the coach that largely is involved, like the other leagues are, in recruiting players?
Yeah, I'd say most of them are the coaches. There's some teams in our league that will have an administrative person putting together the roster, but I've always believed, and I believe wholeheartedly that the coach should put together a roster to his team. And it gives them great experience. And so all these coaches are gunning for full-time jobs. And in fact, we just made a coaching change in March. Our coach, Kevin Swaney, who's an assistant at South Mountain Community College in Arizona, he got an opportunity to be a full-time, got a full-time job at the university and a full-time assistant. So he's not allowed to coach summer ball anymore. So brought in somebody else. But these guys work their tails off in the off season. I mean, and I'm very close to it, obviously, from my seat. But they work so hard to build those relationships and finding out, because there's a lot of coaches that'll just say, well, okay, University of Georgia, who do you got for me? And our coaches look at it a little bit different from a standpoint of that. I want to make sure it fits what we're looking for. And just because it's the University of Georgia calling doesn't mean that we're just going to take them. It's got to fit within our mold and what our organization stands for. And so they work really hard. And I'd say by November, early December, their roster is pretty full. And then they'll go into the spring. So here, some of the other leagues may be differently, but we're pretty full coming December. And the number of kids that are emailing and saying, "Hey, I want to play for your team. I want to do that." If it's May and they're still looking for a team, well, that sells itself for why they're still looking for a team. But and then they'll go into the spring and kind of see how the guys do, and they'll have contracts set up for them and figure that out. But some guys get hurt. Some guys, don't play as well. They're on pitch limits when they have to come here. So we have a roster. The league has a roster maximum of 40, but we'll probably have 55 or 60 kids that'll come in and out throughout the summer for various reasons.
Wow. And with the host families too. You mentioned host families are primarily where the kids stay, right? So
Yes.
that's pretty true across the board with collegiate summer ball. What do you guys do? Like, tell us a little bit about. I'm sure a lot of listeners don't really know that whole process of host families and what they do for the players. Can you give us a little bit of overview of what you guys do for to connect people with host families?
Yeah. So first of all, we'll have our core that's been with us for, let's just say we need about 32 host families each year, give or take, because we have some student athletes that are from Middle Georgia that are playing elsewhere, and then they'll stay with their families wherever they're at. But we'll start with that core, and then we'll start advertising. We're looking for host families usually in the fall or the winter, and the experience is actually really something special. Now, we talk to our host families about you can be as involved in their lives as they want to be, but you need to look at it from a standpoint of you're opening your home to almost like a foreign exchange student in a sense, right? Mm-hmm. They're coming in, they're not from the area, they don't know anybody except the teammates they have on their team, and they're going to have an opportunity to have an adopted son for the summer. So yes, we ask them to open their home, and that's really the requirement: is have a bed for them, have a place for them to shower and to hang out. If you want to provide extra food, great. But most of the host families get incredibly involved. They get to know the players' parents. They will help get them food, take them to things, go to other events, and then it's like that relationship, that bond starts. And there's so many stories that are out there about host families and the player, how they kept in touch. Russell Wilson is a great example of that. He played at NC State, and he actually played in our league however many years ago. He talks about he still keeps in contact with his host family. Wow. Even it's 10, 15 years later. So it's really could be a cool experience. Now, like I said, several of them get way more involved than others. I mean, they'll go the next year, go watch them play wherever they're playing ball at. And have their families over for Christmas. We have one of our host families that every year she goes to one of her former players for Christmas, like to go visit them somewhere. It can be really something special. So I encourage anybody that lives in an area where host families, if you have an extra room and it changes up your summer a little bit, from any plans you have of going out of town, but it is. I've always talked about that if I wasn't the team president here, which would be a little awkward to have one of our players stand in my house, but I would 100% do it, because it's a cool way to, and especially if you have kids, like they kind of look up to these guys and say, oh my gosh, like you're a college ball player.
Yeah, imagine a kid just a young kid finds out his parents are hosting a college baseball player, local baseball player, and he's just sitting in the living room and just watching a game together, and that's a really cool experience. The experience of just being with another family.
Yeah, you just got to be okay with them coming back super late, right? And that's a little bit different because when we play on the road, they'll sometimes get back at 3:00 in the morning, and sleep most of the day. But you just got to be okay with that. But I mean, that's something kind of cool to be able to have that opportunity to be able to host somebody.
Yeah, it's definitely something unique to the college summer ball scene that a lot of people don't realize. They're college students, they have limited funds, and I know that. Do you guys do things like look for sponsors for team meals, or do you guys provide any of that stuff, or how do you?
We do. Actually, in our league, that's part of the requirement in our bylaws or agreement, franchise agreement, is going to be got to provide uniforms, place to play, have to travel, charter, bus travel. So I don't know if all the leagues do that. I think some of the guys may drive wherever they're going, but got to provide the charter, and then we have to provide post-game meals. So these guys get taken care of pretty well. I mean, wherever they're at, especially the major universities, they're eating, their training tables, and they're eating all day long. But we have really great shout out to our post-game meal. We've had Texas Roadhouse for about 5 years as our post-game meal. So we probably have one of the better post-game meals in the league. So it's okay.
I would say, yeah. Very cool. So, give us a little bit more insight into just the Bacon, so actually, let me switch gears a slight bit. Tell us about your involvement with the Flamingos too. You mentioned that you're a partner in that team as well.
Yeah. So Steve, I mentioned earlier. So Steve and I had talked about maybe kind of coming here was that thought process of maybe getting 3 to 5 teams at some point in time. That was always my goal. I mean, it's kind of crazy. So 24 years ago, Steve DeLay and John Spolster said all new employees down. He sat me down, said, "What do you want to do with your life? Have you thought about it?" I said, "I really want to run or own a baseball team. That is my goal that I wanted." So about 20 years later, way earlier than I thought about it, it came about with me and Steve doing this. So in the height of COVID of 2020, we caught wind that the owner of the team in Florence was maybe looking to sell. Rumor of maybe a new ballpark coming about. So we kind of just investigated and we put together an incredible deal. By October of 2020, we purchased what was known as the Florence Red Wolves, and they'd been there for a while as the Florence Red Wolves. They were playing at Francis Marion University, which was about 5 or 6 miles outside of the city limits. And Florence is a much smaller town than Macon. So it was harder for people. They thought they were maybe going to North Carolina to go see a game because it's just so far, felt so far away. 5 miles outside the city limits is probably forever to a lot of people. And so we put together that opportunity and started instilling our entertainment and our all-you-can-eat packages. And then a new ballpark was built. So Carolina Bank Field opened up in really the heart of Florence last year for the 2022 season. Sold out more than half of the games. Previously, they had never sold out any games for the 20 years prior to that, because whenever they just kept on selling tickets. So like on July 4th, they just would have, a 1,500 seat stadium. They'd have 3,000 people there. Just kept on selling. So we created our sellout mentality. When we're sold out, we're sold out. And so we sold out about half the games last year there. So it was a cool experience. Just continue to build in. So we went all in on the pink. So we believe we might be the only team in all of North America that our primary color is pink. And we were all in. We had pink bases, pink bats.
Really? Wow.
I love it, man. I've seen I like the team picture with the pink on pink.
Yeah.
It's got the pink jerseys with the pink pants. I mean, listen, you want to stand out. That's a way to stand out. The Bananas took the yellow and they ran with it. Yeah. But it's a little bit bolder, I think, to go with the pink.
It's awesome. And so everyone was talking about how these guys are going to hate it. And so we changed the brand mid-season. The last 2 games of the season in 2021, we played as the Flamingos. So, which is really odd. You don't change brands in the middle of the season, but we thought, well, do something bold. We're like, the guys are going to hate it. Everyone's like, the guys are going to hate it. And they loved it. We showed it to them. They're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Because, who wears pink? Well, we do, I guess.
Right. I like it. Well,
it's one way just to stand out, right? Something different.
That's right.
Brands come to the stadium, they're like, whoa, what's going on? They just keep their engagement on the game. They're just going to watch, these guys running around in pink uniforms everywhere. So it's cool.
Well, you think about it too. And so when we launched the brand, it's similar to happen with Macon, but we sold merch to every state in the country in a matter of about 13 days. So it was really cool to see, we're painting the country pink. So kind of cool. Something different.
Cool. So we talked a little bit about the game and how you guys come about every day with the players, but give us a little bit of experience and not to compare with the other team we're not going to mention that we don't remember nothing about. Yeah. Give us a little experience of what your fans are going to experience when they show up to the stadium. Like, once I go through the gates, what am I experiencing? What am I seeing?
Well, first you'll smell bacon. There's no doubt about that. We sell plenty of bacon here, no doubt about it. We got everything from our 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon sandwich to bacon wrap bacon. My daughter actually invented that last year. She said everything is bacon wrapped. Why can't we bacon wrap bacon?
Oh my God!
So we do that. So that's a big thing you're gonna see. You're gonna see there. You're gonna see our mascot, 7 foot tall piece of bacon. His name is Kevin Bacon. The real Kevin Bacon actually knows us, and he's tweeted about us. He even named one of his goats after us, which is pretty cool. That's when you make it, though. When you make it, when someone named their goat after you, that's when you know you made it. But really, our thought process. I mean, you're walking the iconic gates, and it's got that really cool nostalgic feel. And you're gonna hear the music, you're gonna hear the fans, and like I said, in between any skits, between when you walk in the gates and see the players signing autographs that are, we always have a couple players up front signing autographs when you walk in. It's just it's a nostalgic feel. But then once the game gets started, that's when things get even more fun. We have a kids zone and wiffle ball field.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, something different from that perspective. And in college summer ball, you really can. We're not under the thumb of major and minor league baseball, so we can do things that we want to do. And I mean, several times we'll stop the game and do something. We always have this promotion called Home Run for Life, which a lot of other teams do, but we'll actually stop the game in the middle of the game and have a child that was stricken with some type of childhood disease or illness, and give them an opportunity to run around the bases. The team takes a picture with them. So it's just those types of things you can do that you normally couldn't. Especially Jersey nights that we'll have, but every Friday and Saturday is going to be our big theme night, Star Wars night and Hawaiian night.
Star Wars.
This year, I tell you, these Hawaiian jerseys that we're wearing this year are so cool. So it's just you can do things like that, and that's the special part about it, is that you can get as creative as you want. And we talk about it as a staff. We have 9-person staff here, and we talk about there's no idea that's too crazy. Let's go for it. Let's make it happen.
So how many players say, hey, I'm coming back next year to play again because I just want that experience? How many players do you have that do that?
So traditionally, it kind of just depends on because again, they're more under the direction of their college coach and where they're at. But we'll have a handful each year that will come back. That's probably pretty standard. But what's unique about a place like Macon, or even Savannah, or some of these other teams that do really well, the Madison Mallards, that you've got when you get these, you see their attendance numbers and they see the support. I mean, they're playing in front of crowds that some of them never played in front of it. And every year we'll have that one or two that'd be like, this is super overwhelming to get asked for autographs and can't hear yourself think. And that's pretty cool, because they're used to playing, sometimes some of the colleges in front of a couple hundred people. And so it's a really cool setting to see that and give them that experience that, that's our goal for them, is that they're going to want to come back, or they're at least going to say that was a great summer for me, outside of just whatever they did on the field.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that mentioning the uniforms, man, I love that uniform, that jersey with the ripple of bacon right across. I mean, I got to get one of these and wear it around. It's too cool, man.
Absolutely.
Well, you got a game today, and this is kind of the beginning of the season, so hopefully everyone will see this and they'll be filling up their bucket list to get down to Macon for a game this summer, if they can get tickets.
Right. Yeah. We'd love to have anybody that's listening in. We'll play up to August 4th, and we make the playoffs. We'll play a little bit longer, but we love our ballpark. We love our community, and anybody is welcome to come to our games.
Love it. It's a great story. It's a great story, and we want to do everything we can to get the story out and to promote what you guys are doing with Macon. And I think we actually started a Facebook group, David and I and some others, to try to get people focused on summer collegiate ball.
Yeah.
And just to see teams push their ideas out there and share what they're doing, because it's just a fun, what would you call it? Subsect baseball. That more and more people are catching on to. And like you said, you guys get to do all kinds of creative things that sometimes regular minor league or major league can't do. So
that's right.
We appreciate it.
No, absolutely.
Thanks for coming on today. I'm going to ask David to hit our sponsors real quick and wrap it up.
Yep. So just want to thank Ease It Mortgage for sponsoring the 40th episode of the podcast. Keep growing along. It's exciting to have so many great guests on here to kind of share their story. DC3 Bat Company, they make their bats. They make a custom glove, which Brian one day will bring on the Legends on Deck custom baseball glove finally when he breaks it in. So he can have
it's in my car. So my son and I have been playing catch with it. So every opportunity I have to walk around and maybe have a catch with the glove, I try to get it broken in. So one day I'll remember to bring it on the podcast.
And also, if you see Brian's on his hat, he has the official Legends on Deck podcast logo. I have one of our T-shirts that we sell, which is DC Bat gloves, and then the Legends on Deck. But we have a bunch of other styles and colors. We're trying to push that as well. But we're growing. We're trying to, be as famous as the Macon Bacons, and one day we will.
You guys are doing great.
That's
I love
the goal,
podcast.
man.
I love
Thank
it. I
you.
love listening
Thank
to it.
you. Well, this
we
is
so I just want to say appreciate you. I will take you on coming up to Georgia. I was actually going to be coming this summer, so I got something else to do.
100%.
And you'll be number one on that bucket list because now I get to throw a ball out. So that's going to be more.
Let's go. Let's go.
I love it. I love it. Brandon Raphael, president of the Macon Bacon, also involved with the guys in pink, the Florence Flamingos, in the Coastal Plain League. Thanks for coming on to tell your story today.
Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun. Thanks so much.
Great. Episode 40, big episode 40. All right. Thank you, everybody.